Madden 26 has got an important update for franchise players as they're reporting that they patched one of the game's biggest game-breaking bugs, and we also have information about when the next full title update should be coming out. So if you guys want to learn more, stick around after the intro. If you guys are looking for fast, cheap, reliable MUT coins, check out my coin sponsors at MMOXP.com and use discount code MONEYSHOT for 6% off your order. Link in the description below. The champ is here! Welcome back, Money Team. This is Mad Money Shots. Sniffing up the Madden cheese as always. In today's video, we had another update, and this is something that I reported on last week on Friday, that EA was trying to patch something, and it looks like they finally got it figured out. So I'm going to get into that, but before I do, as always, if you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to be a subscriber, hit the like button, let me know in the comment section. Other than that, let's go right into the video. Now, Friday of last week, I did a video about how there was an article out that a lot of people all of a sudden were noticing that they were losing access to their online franchises. This was not something that was really too much of a public story like it was a few years ago when it was rampant to the point where it was probably like more than half the leagues got lost as they tried to fix it, and ultimately they were telling people to restart their leagues for the most part. So it wasn't that big, but it was something that the way that happened years ago, I think it was like in Madden 22 or 23, it kind of happened overnight where people woke up and like half of the franchises were like gone because of some like cloud server error or something like that. I really don't remember what the exact issue was, but like I said, it was in the past. If you played Madden back then, you probably remember it, especially if you played an online franchise. I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this video were affected. Well, a couple days ago on the 8th, EA put out their typical communication, which they do when they're going to try to do a server maintenance, when they're going to do an update typically, where they said on their NFL Direct Twitter account that there's going to be server maintenance at 6 a.m. on Wednesday, October 8th. And they usually say that during this time, you can't be online. You can't, all modes are pretty much gated off. So they do it in that time in the morning because they figure that that's when the most people aren't on. And a lot of times people expect that to mean that there's going to be an actual title update. Well, that day came and went, and there were no patch notes. Especially since EA doesn't really do it that way anymore. They used to say server maintenance, and then the following day they'd roll out the update and they'd roll out the patch notes if they had any. Now they're actually putting out patch notes the day before. So if you see this message where they're going to be doing a server maintenance, what it means is that they're going to not bring out any patch notes. Whatever they're working on, there aren't going to be any patch notes because now they're doing it the day prior. So yesterday on the 14th, they did the exact same server maintenance update where they said that on Wednesday, October 15th, there was going to be some sort of server maintenance at 6 a.m. the exact same way. And since they didn't actually put out any communication, a lot of people were wondering what these server maintenances were about. Me personally, I found an article written by GameSpot, and I did a full video on it where they were suggesting that after the server maintenance update on the 8th, there was a lot of people that were reporting that their franchises were locking them out even more than prior to that update. So I suggested that whatever they tried to fix on the 8th was most likely due to this franchise bug. And then today, they actually put out information saying that, yes, they did fix the franchise bug. That was what they were trying to do these last two server maintenance updates. It says, update. Following a server restart earlier today, players should be able to access their online franchise leagues. The team is continuing to investigate the cause of this issue to provide a permanent fix moving forward. Now, there's a lot to unpack there. Number one, I want to take a victory lap here and say that I was right, because I didn't hear anybody else actually saying that the server maintenance that they tried to do on the 8th had anything to do with the franchise bug. I just connected the dots based on the fact that if you looked at the dates from the actual issues that were happening, they all started happening after the 8th. They started happening on the 9th. You could go on like EA forums, you saw a bunch of people saying that they were all of a sudden having issues, and it was after the server maintenance on the 8th. So to me, I just connected the dots and said, okay, clearly they were trying to fix this issue and they made it worse. Well, now they're saying they made it better. But when you look at the fact that it says permanent fix moving forward, it means that they still haven't 100% figured it out. So there still might be people out there that are going to be finding over the course of time that, hey, all of a sudden, I can't get into my franchise league. What's going on? So this might still be a recurring issue, but they're making it sound like they solved the issues going backwards, but maybe not going forward. So if you're still having issues with this, let everybody know in the comment section. Other than that, I also have a bit of a theory when it comes to these online leagues and the issues that they're having. If it started happening in around Madden 22 or 23, I don't remember the exact year, but I do remember that around this time they implemented your online dynasty being crossplay, which was something that had a lot of issues when it first was implemented. And a lot of people that when they come to me and they leave comments saying that I'm having connection issues or I'm having trouble just playing online games and stuff like that, I always tell them to take off crossplay, because to me crossplay is probably what's created this bug, and it's only perpetuated throughout time, because we all know that this is not a new game. When you get Madden 26 or 25 or 24, they're all basically just roster updates or just extensions of a previous version, but I have no way to confirm that as fact. It's just something that I've been noticing over time, that when people have issues getting connected to either online games, I'll tell them, hey, take off your crossplay and see if that fixes it. And a lot of times they'll come back to me and be like, yeah, actually did fix it. I did get online after I took crossplay off, which you actually have to do on your console. So if you're having any connection issues, or if your league's having any connection issues, try to maybe make a league that's not relying on crossplay, which I know might be an issue if you're halfway through a year or halfway through a dynasty or halfway through a franchise or whatever. But I do think that crossplay is probably the issue, and I don't think that they've really figured out how to implement that correctly. Now, other than that, a lot of people connected to EA were speculating that this week would be the week that would get a title update, a full title update. Suggested that it would be, and I was thinking the same thing, considering that the last title update was about a month ago today, which I think was on like the 17th. But that's probably not going to happen now, because like I said earlier in the video, that if they're going to have an update, they typically put out patch notes the day prior. And since today is Wednesday and there's no patch notes or no title update notes out, and the fact that they typically do updates on Thursday and not on Friday, because Friday's like the day where they like bury the news, you know what I mean? Like most people put out updates on Friday because they don't expect to get much attention. So I would think that we're actually going to get an update next week, based on the fact that they typically do updates somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday, and we don't have our day early patch release notes. So as far as stuff that we can expect to see when it comes to the next title update, we typically can look at the other game from EA to kind of get an idea of where the actual patch notes are going to go. And a lot of the stuff that got patched in college football, which was only 2 weeks ago on October 2nd, was based off of stuff that was actually already patched first in Madden. Things like the route stem logic going down to only 3-yard minimum was updated when it comes to college football, which was something that was already done in Madden. So I don't think we can really look at college football and say that there's too much information there, as far as, because to me Madden's ahead of the curve now. It's not the other way around. To me, it used to be that college football was setting the tone and then it was getting transferred over to Madden, where now it feels like Madden is setting the tone and it's getting transferred backwards to college football, which doesn't make a ton of sense considering that college football comes out like a month earlier than Madden, but that's kind of the pattern that they're following. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about a potential mix-up when it comes to the superstars and X Factors. I know that there's a lot of players that are performing well above what they're actually getting as far as their superstar and X Factors. Guys like Puka Nacua, who's having a monster year. Jonathan Taylor, who is, he could be offensive player of the year. We have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I don't even know if he has a superstar or an X Factor at this point. Yeah, he has nothing, and he's leading the league in receiving yards. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity out there for players that are just having monster seasons, and then there's a lot of players that aren't really doing much of anything that you could really take away there. So we will at some point throughout the season see a reshuffling when it comes to a lot of superstars and X Factor abilities, but I don't know if it'll be this update, but we should expect that soon. And we also typically see a lot of updates when it comes to player likenesses, especially when it comes to face scans. And it's kind of embarrassing that a player like Jordan Mailata, who is a superstar player, is one of the highest rated linemen in the entire game, and they just have a generic face on him. And that's something that we get across the board in a lot of different positions that really don't make sense. Positions like, and I know I'm just sticking to the Eagles because I'm an Eagles fan, and it kind of bothers me because I have an offline franchise that I play just for fun. And I see a lot of these that just really don't make sense. And I just wonder why they haven't actually made changes to some of the highest rated players, to some of the superstar X Factor players like Zach Baun. This is not Zach Baun's face. We just saw that. Why do we have a generic face when it comes to some of these players? I know that every update, they do make updates, but it's usually like rookies and first-year players and younger players and stuff like that, when there's a lot of veteran players that have been in the league for a long time that still have like these horrible face scans. And not only that, but I mean, there's also a lot of ratings issues that don't make a lot of sense. Like I said, once again, sticking to the Eagles here because they're my team. But guys like Cam Jurgens, who's only a 78 overall, is coming off a Pro Bowl year. I know this year he's not having a very good year, but he still deserves a little more attention, especially when you look at the difference between his face scan and his profile picture. So to me, we should definitely expect to see more of this, but I'd like to see them ramp this up. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to offline gameplay that I'd really like to see different, as there has been rumors that they are working on computer-based offline gameplay.
There has been a rumor going around that EA is doing some more work with like CPU gameplay and stuff like that. I'm not sure when we're going to see that coming, but that's something that both games probably need
a little bit more and that's something that they did address in the college football update in the last patch, which I would hope that they would kind of port over to Madden the same way, where there's a lot of times where especially like say there's like 30 seconds left in a half and you have the ball, you'll see the defense will just run cover four, cover four, cover four, cover four, and it'll make it very easy to just basically dink and dunk them the entire way down the field and basically get a touchdown or a field goal because they won't get out of that cover four defense. They have made changes to logic when it comes to situational based play calling by the computer, but it's not enough. There's still a lot more to be done there, and there's still a lot more to be done when it comes to, like I said, face scans and just authenticity of the game when it comes to offline stuff. I personally think that the online gameplay is great. I know there's a lot of people that complain based off of what game mode you play, but me personally, I think the online gameplay is really strong. But to me, the offline and the things like the authenticity of the players really needs a lot of work. So I'm going to end the video there, but if you guys want to see that video that I was talking about that I made last week on Friday where I basically called this out, I'll have that popping up on screen, and you guys can click links and check that out. Other than that, thanks for watching, man. My shit out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.